Welcome to Fabulous Women Over 40, hosted by celebrity stylist Kara Allan. Join Kara as she interviews amazing women, sometimes younger and amazing men as well, in their 40s and beyond. Here's Kara with our Fabulous Woman of the Day.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Fabulous Women Over 40, where we curate conscious conversations with women and men who are impacting the world. I'm your host, Kara Allan, celebrity stylist and personal brand image consultant. And today, my guest is an entrepreneur, a veteran, a former beauty queen, and humanitarian. Please welcome the fabulous Raquel Riley Thomas. How are you today, Miss?
Hey, how are you? I love that intro.
Oh, well, thanks. You know, it's all you.
I was like, who's that lady? Who is she talking about?
I know, right? It's like, that sounds familiar, but I don't know. It's all good.
You work so hard sometimes, you forget what you've done because you're just steady moving and not even realizing that those types of things can happen to you in that process.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Thank you for having me on your show. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for being here. It's it took us a while to get everything together, but in your move, and we all had a lot going on, so it's good. I'm happy that we were finally able to connect.
Yes. So I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. I want to dive into your military career. So, how did you make the decision to go into the military, and how old were you when you first went in?
Sure. I actually was 17 when I went into the military. Wow. I was, after I graduated from high school, I went directly into the military a few months later. My grandmother, my mother, my aunt, all three of them went into the military, had spent some time in the military, believe it or not. And so I felt it was the right thing to do to continue that tradition before I went out and of course, did what I actually wanted to do, was to be an entrepreneur down the line. I already knew that. So it was important to me to serve my country first through that aspect. And then I went on ahead and, of course, once I got out in 2002 and I went on ahead and began my entrepreneurial career.
Nice. So, well, thank you for your service, of course.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Of course. So, and what branch were you in, and how long were you in? You said you went in at 17, but how old were you when you got out?
So, I don't remember how old I was when I got out. I have to calculate that. Somewhere, somebody add up out there in the computer world. What's 22? So the key here, though, is that 3 of the years was spent in ROTC. However, I was under contract because I had already been enlisted. So when I first came into the military, I was what you call a 46Q, a photojournalist for the military. And then thank you. And then I went to Korea, and it was a very funny story. I actually went to Korea, and every day I had to walk to our motor pool, and there was this really nice looking guy who was an officer who was at the medical center that I had to walk by. And so every time I saw him, I was like, oh my gosh, he looks, really good. He's very handsome. But I knew that you couldn't cross that line between enlisted and officer, as most of those who are listening in who are military, they may know this. So I was walking by one day and he stopped me, and I was like, ooh, is he going to ask me out? And he said to me, have you ever thought about going ROTC? And I was like, are you serious? Is this what you're asking me? So I said, no, sir, I have not thought about going ROTC. And he started giving me the pitch of being ROTC, which is Reserve Officer Training Corps. And that's basically when enlisted soldiers transfer over into becoming an officer, but they have to go through some training first in order for them to do it. And so you get a full ride to your whatever school that you desire, and takes, of course, and it also has a ROTC course. And so we got into that conversation, and believe it or not, my mind actually did switch over from, oh, he's cute, to, oh, okay, now he's a resource. He became a mentor, believe it or not. And I ended up getting a full scholarship to Hampton University thank you, to Hampton University. I was able to finish schooling in 3 years because I had the first year was pretty much was already done. So I finished school in 3 years, and then I went right back into the military. I wanted to go into public affairs. However, they needed more African American women to go into ordnance. So they pulled a lot of us who graduated at the top of our class. They pulled us and sent us to ordnance. I'm not really upset about it because I ended up meeting my husband down the line. So it was a blessing in disguise. Yes.
Yes. God always has a plan.
Right. But at the time, it was very hard for me to explain to guys that I was an ordnance officer. I didn't know if I could actually get too many dates just because of the fact that you're telling people that you blow up stuff for a living. So I was more on the maintenance side though, so I didn't really have to do that part. But still, when you say ordnance, people kind of, guys kind of freaked out about that. So it was quite funny. It was quite
Their
funny.
eyes are kind of like, oh, yeah. Okay.
So I became an ordnance officer. So I went, so I got out I finished Hampton in 98, and then I was an officer from 1998 to 2002. So for 4 years. And I grew from, of course, being a second lieutenant to a captain. When I got out, I was honorably discharged. And there you have it. That was my
nice. She's an officer and a gentlewoman.
Exactly. That is the reason why the name of the company is that.
I love that. So then transitioning from the military to pageantry. Now, where did that come from? That's such a stark contrast.
I actually, when I got out the military, I started my own photography business. And I was shooting a lot of actors, and what a lot of people don't know, a little side bit here is that I actually, for 9 years, I shot swimsuit centerfolds for Jet magazine. I was the only female photographer to shoot swimsuit centerfolds. So if everybody goes back to their old Jet beauties, the Jet magazines, and look at the centerfolds, you may see my name, because there was like 3 or 4 of us photographers who were sending our stuff in. And then I also became a model with Elite and Ford at the same time, which at that time was very unheard of, because usually you're on one side of the camera. And I just happened to get blessed to be selected as a model because of my height, and I was a commercial model for 7 years. So between 2002 and 2009, I was back and forth between photography and modeling, and so I stopped most of that once my daughter Maria was born. She was born in 2006, and I kind of started to trickle out of doing that because it was just a lot, handling a 3-year-old. I mean, handing a baby. She hit about 3 years old, and around that time, she had all these little videotapes. Those are the things she used to put inside of the VCR or DVDs. Excuse me. You put in. I know some of this new generation may not know what that is, but DVDs, and she would put it in, and she would watch her. She would watch all of her Disney princess movies. And then one day she made a comment to me and said, "How come there aren't any of these princesses that look like me?" And for a 3-year-old to ask me that question in her 3-year-old mannerism, I was completely shocked and didn't know how to answer the question. And I kind of threw it at her like, "Oh, you know how we moms are. Oh, you're just as beautiful." And, they just didn't have any, they didn't have anyone to make a girl our color at the time. Now, around that time, if I'm not mistaken, I think Princess Tiana had come out. But someone, my daughter's color, she was just asking that question about. So it stuck with me, though. And it broke my heart that I couldn't answer her question the way I needed to answer it. And so about a few months later, Miss Universe comes on television. It was either Miss Universe or Miss America. I can't remember which one it was, but they came on television, and I said, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get in a pageant, and I'm going to show my daughters that, because at the time, this is now 2009, and so my other daughter, Sophia, was born. I said, I'm going to show my daughters that they can be a princess too. So I'm going to be their princess. I'm going to be that queen for them. And I said, I'm going to win this pageant. I just already had it in my head. I was going to win. So I got into the Mrs. pageant. They have a Mrs. Maryland America, because I was living in Maryland at the time. I became Mrs. Prince George's County. And then I went on to win Mrs. Maryland America. When I won, I had to go to the national level. And the national level is Mrs. America. I won the first runner-up slot. I was the first African American in their 40 plus year history to ever break that ceiling of getting to first runner-up. No one else had ever done it before me. So a few years later, after that, they did actually select a Black woman as the as Mrs. America. And I remember her coming back to me and she said, because you broke that ceiling, I was able to get through. And for me, that was all I needed. That was all I needed here. That let me know that, okay, no, I didn't win the top, but I did a lot, using that first runner up. I went out and, continued to motivate women as much as I could. And it was just it was a phenomenal experience because I really did like pageantry. I loved what it stood for. And it taught you how to speak about yourself, and it taught you etiquette and poise and grace and how to speak on stage and be able to answer questions immediately without having paper in your hand. So there's a lot of good in pageants. Sometimes the negative is seen in the media, and I get it, but pageantry is great. And it's really great for young girls too, because if they do it the right way, it's very good for young girls too, because it teaches them, again, that etiquette piece that sometimes is missing when they are growing up.
So what tips would you give any young women out there or moms that are maybe thinking about putting their daughters into them? Like, what's the do's and don'ts? What do you look out for, as far as any pitfalls, or what's the best way to do it? Start at the state level and all that?
Sure. So after I became a pageant winner, I loved it so much that I bought the franchise for DC, for Mrs. DC, Mrs. Delaware, and Mrs. Pennsylvania. So what a lot of people don't realize is that even though it's under one conglomerate, each state has its own owner and its own directors. So I own DC, Pennsylvania, and Delaware at some time, not the full time for Delaware and Pennsylvania, but the whole time for 10 years, I owned DC. And one of the things that I was explaining to the ladies who were thinking about getting into the pageant was, this is for you. This is not to compete against the woman to your left and to your right. You are your own competitor in this. So if you're going in this to win the crown, by all means, we all want to be a winner. We all want the crown. However, your goal is to get something done that you might not have had before. Like for me, I would never talk about my story, like how I'm sitting here talking to you now. You could never get me to talk about myself before I got into a pageant. I would never talk about my personal life, never. And so now it has given me the opportunity to understand that my story could perhaps help another woman who is in, whichever type of situation that she's in. And maybe I could be a beacon of hope for her. So I tell women, remember, when you get in, you're going to be a beacon of hope for somebody out there. You may not know who she is, but you will be a beacon of hope. And you could be a voice for those who don't have a voice. So that's the, I think for the most part, that is that energy that I want to give off to them and let them know that this is a positive experience. I tried as much as possible to keep our experiences in our pageants positive. I cannot speak for other directors. I can't speak for other pageant systems, but my goal was to give them a uplifting time and let them have a good time. And I told them, I said, this is mandatory fun. So that means you have to go get your hair done. You have to go get your nails done. You got to go get, you got to go get new dresses. Like, you make it mandatory fun for yourself.
Right.
So it's really a great mental for a lot of the women.
I love that. Yeah, that's mandatory fun.
Mandatory fun. Yes.
And because I think a lot of women feel like if they're not great at that, then it's, oh my God, I got to do this. No, you get to do this to be your beautiful feminine self.
Right. Go in it to they're like, you know what? I want to be in a pageant, but I know that I probably don't have the qualifications to be the winner. I said, every woman who gets in here has a qualification. You're a woman, period. I said, but some women want to focus more on losing weight. Some women want to focus on their speaking ability. Some women want to focus on how to do makeup, how to dress well. Of course, being a stylist, you understand that, there's a lot of women who just didn't know it. And not because they were lazy about it. They just didn't know how to do these things. So they get in pageantry and it's all there. It's literally like a crash course on etiquette, how to style yourself, how to do your makeup, how to do your hair, how to, and go to this, subject matter experts who know how to take care of your face, go to subject matter experts who know how to take care of your hair. So, I mean, it just is a great opportunity for women who want to take care of themselves. And when you look good, you feel good.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Yeah.
Say that again for the people in the back.
When you look good, you feel
That's
good.
so true.
Yes. And that helps with that mental health. That mental health, a lot of that has to do with that mental health. It's very important that you feel good about yourself. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know you know who Patty Stanger is, the millionaire matchmaker.
Yes.
She talks about how it's not just the act of, or the end result of putting on makeup, but actually the act of putting it on releases those good feeling hormones when you're putting them on. So it's like it definitely gives a new meaning to that.
Yes. We did some research. We found out that that Harvard did a research on makeup and found out that the women they did, I think it was about 100, I think it was 100 women that they did a survey with, and half of them had makeup on and half of them didn't. And then like down the line, they realized that makeup really actually does make women feel better, because the women who wore the makeup were like, I feel better about myself. And I don't think it's necessarily because they felt like that they didn't look good as they were. It was just, this is fun. Makeup should be fun. And if you do have some challenges on your face, you can cover it up a little bit, but things that you may be insecure about, but makeup is fun. And when you have fun, again, you are releasing, like you said, you were releasing that energy that will exude out to the universe. And then so many people will be like, wow, you just look amazing. And all you did was put on some lipstick.
Yeah, for sure. It's when I used to work for Mac, it was like that. People would just get so hung up on it. And I'm like, it's just makeup. You can wipe it off if you don't like it. It's not plastic surgery. So just relax.
But it's
It'll be okay.
Right. It's fun. And I mean, at the end of the day, why not? That's how I always say it. Not what if, why not?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So now, how did you know that you wanted to be an entrepreneur? And then what was the Pageant your first dive into entrepreneurship, or did you have another business? Like, how did you get into it?
I actually was an entrepreneur when I first got out the military, because I owned my own photography business, Photography by Raquel. And then I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur a long time ago, because my grandmother was one too at some point. And I come from a musical background. So again, a lot of them are entrepreneurs. My great grandmother was a opera singer. My grandmother was a violin virtuoso. And she played, a significant amount of other instruments. She actually was the teacher. She was the music teacher of Tito Jackson. A lot of people don't know that. Back in Gary, Indiana, my grandmother Shirley Cartman was the music teacher for Tito Jackson. So Tito, if you're listening to this, I know my grandmother or Janet, my grandmother, and they used to come over to my grandmother's house and practice back in Gary, Indiana. Yes, before they blew up. So that musical piece is, I always call it the 3 M's: the music, the military, and the makeup. That's what I always call it for our 3 M's in our family. And so because my grandmother was a violin virtuoso, she would go around to different schools, and she was a music teacher, and she also wrote her own book. So she was into doing her own thing as well. My mother was an entrepreneur, and it just made sense for me. I like being my own boss. I really don't like to have someone tell me what to do. I'd rather for me to tell myself what to do, because if something gets screwed up, then I know it's me. It's my responsibility versus working for someone else. So I like being an entrepreneur. I really do. It's tough.
Right.
I'm not going to say it's easy. It's very tough. However, the fact that I don't have to answer to anybody, that's the biggest gift of it all. It's the biggest gift. Yes.
So tell us about this amazing beauty makeup line you have that you developed with your daughters, right?
Yes. So in my company, An Officer and Gentlewoman LLC, we have 4 divisions in our company. One is for talent management, one is for brand management, one is for public relations, which we do a lot of. And of course, the other piece is production because we had to produce pageants over the past 10 years. And
Mm-hmm.
so when I came up with Raquel Riley Thomas Beauty, I wanted my company to, of course, take over, taking care of the brand piece. So I have a team of
Mm-hmm.
people who are working on the brand itself. And my daughter and I, the one who actually was 3 and was asking me about the pageant piece, she owns her own cosmetic brand. And we both started these particular brands in 2020. So we both sat down and said, had we waited a little longer, perhaps maybe we should have just did it together. She was focused more on teens and
Mm-hmm.
I was focused more on adults. So mine was more, sexy and, that sort of thing, where
Right.
she's more like team, pop art and, those fun, light colors and so forth, light pinks and everything. And I was mine was more a little bit dramatic. So I was like, we have 2 different demographics. But what happened was, once we started, people were buying like her lipstick and my eyeshadow and they would mix them, or they would take my lipstick and her gloss and they would mix it. So they started mixing the brands. And I said, we got to do a collab. And she was like, you know what, let's do it. And so we sat down for 3 months and worked out a collab and worked with our manufacturers to design the product, to design, what it was going to look like, the colors we selected and so forth. So it was really just a wonderful time that I had to spend with her, and also understanding that she really is a fierce entrepreneur herself, because there were times she was like, I really don't like this particular thing. I think we should do this. And I actually had to agree with her when I would step back and look at it like the next day. I would say, you know what, this does look better, based off of what you said. So I actually gained more respect for my 16-year-old, which is, I know most people are like, what, are you serious? But I actually gained more respect for her and being her own voice and being able to say, Mom, and she wasn't disrespectful at all. She was just like, I think this looks better than this. And she's in the Z generation. So of course her thought process is going to be different from mine. They're more futuristic. I have a little bit more of a conservative look. And so putting it together just was an absolute blessing in disguise. And we were trying to figure out what the name would be. And we said, you know what? Well, your middle name is Raquel and my name is Raquel. So let's make it R squared. And that's how R squared collection came out.
That's so cool.
Really cool. Mm-hmm.
And where can people find them? Is it on your website, on
On the website.
Amazon, right?
Yes. So Amazon. So the R Square collection is not on Amazon right now, only because it's a limited edition. So my limited editions stay on our website, because a lot of times
Okay.
I have customers who want to actually talk about, the lipsticks and what colors work for them and so forth. And we just want to make it more personal. Whereas at Amazon, it's kind of like, here's the makeup, here you go. So we have our Virtuoso. And again, I named that after my grandmother, her being a virtuoso violinist. The Virtuoso collection is a collection that is, it's more of for the woman who has to just continue to do what she has to do during the day and doesn't have a lot of time to reapply. Think of my doctors as my customers, my attorneys, CEOs, women who don't have a lot of time to reapply and they just want a little glam and not too much. So the 41-piece set, the super kit, is on Amazon. So, and it's selling pretty well. So I'm really happy about that. And then the R Square collection is on our website at RaquelRileyThomas.com. And Maria has it on hers too as well, which is MariaRaquelThomas.com. Mm-hmm.
That's
So we just
so
use our
cool.
name.
I love that. Like, man, what a cool thing to have a business with your mom and for your mom to teach you how to be an entrepreneur. That's really cool.
Yes. I'm sure she loves it. However, her plan is to be an astronautical engineer. She builds roller coasters and robots. So I will take it. I was like, well, we need this money to put in for some books. So you just keep making that money off of your brand, because this is going to cost us a lot of money.
Wow, roller coasters. How cool.
She built a roller.
Is
Yeah,
she a
she
big
built At 14, she was 14 years old during the pandemic. She built a working roller coaster in our backyard when we were living in Maryland. Yes, ma'am.
Heck.
I have the pictures to prove it. I have the pictures. I had to take photos because no one would believe me. I was like, I got the pictures to prove it. Right.
I feel lazy right now. I just want you to know I feel lazy. She's back here building roller coasters.
I was in shock. I was looking at my husband like, are you really going to allow her to do this? He's like, yeah, no big deal. You know how men are. It's okay. I was like, she's got a drill and okay, PVC pipe. I was sweating bullets during that time, but she did it. She did it. And
that is so cool.
Cat in the box to make sure that it could roll. And, she didn't she put the cat in the box. So the cat was like, really? I'm going to be your guinea pig. Okay.
The cat's traumatized. Like, what's happening?
That's cat. So the cat was funny. He was so, but
oh my God.
It worked. So I was really proud of her. And then she builds robots. So we have mechanoids all upstairs. These mechanoid robots, and the first one she got was about 12 years old. I mean, when she was about 12, and she literally did this. She made this robot within 2 days. She wouldn't come out that room for like 2 days almost, except to go to the restroom and to eat. And she stayed in there and built that whole robot in 2 days and came out like, okay. And it was like 2,500 pieces.
Girl.
Right.
Is she like documenting all of this?
Oh, I have it all. Yes, we have it. We have all of it to show. And just in case someone's like, we don't believe that. Yeah, well, we do, because we got the documentation to prove it.
That is wild. How cool. Yeah. I love it.
My 13-year-old is a teen chef. She owns Sophia J. Thomas. She owns SJ Savory Kitchen, and that's where she blogs and talks about, the different types of gourmet meals to make so that kids can make with their parents. And she decided to start this during the pandemic because she made a comment to me. She was like, Mommy, kids don't know how to cook while the parents are having to work at home because, you're not going to school getting your meals. So she started to document all of her gourmet meals, and she started to post them and so forth. And she has got a nice little following now. And then we put out a product line for her. So she has a 4-piece apron set that is on her website too as well. So we're all entrepreneurs here. And she plans to be a master chef, and she's going to go study in Paris.
I love that. Oh my God.
That's that.
I love it. That's so cool what happens when you nurture.
Yes, ma'am.
Gifts,
yes,
right?
Ma'am. We try. All I can do is try. And I don't push them at all. I ask. And then what they need, I just try to make sure that I'm there to provide. But one thing that I learned very, very much so in the beginning of this process was let them do what they want to do. And you just simply be there and guide them and make sure they don't go off the side by accident, or, give them some tips and stuff. But they do their own thing.
That's really awesome. I love that. We need more. You need to teach a class on how to
get
start.
them.
How to help your kids start
businesses. How to get your kids to become entrepreneurs, or how to start them up and in something that they enjoy. And they enjoy these things. Maria enjoys makeup. Sophia enjoys, cooking. And, I made a comment to someone one day. They were like, oh, she can come cook for me. I said, no. First of all, there's a difference between a cook and a chef.
Right.
And she will get paid if she comes to your house and is your chef for the evening. And the lady was like, oh, I was like, yes. And we have her prices on the website. So should you need them, we can go on there. She was like,
oh, did you think it was free? No, right. It's not. It's not her hobby. Hello.
I can't really cook, so you can come cook. No. We are not free. Okay.
No free 99s over here.
That's what Viola Davis said. Pay me my worth. I love that comment made on her Instagram. Pay me my worth, and that's what I mean.
No, that's right. Like, what is going on here? But
Yes.
yeah, that's really, really cool. I would definitely say, definitely teach a class on that Udemy or even your own website. Do it because like there's so many parents that want to know how to get their kids started, and they have no idea like what to do and how to set it up and how to nurture those gifts and all those things. And that's really awesome that they, um, really wanted to do it and actually follow through. Because a lot of people say they want to do stuff and then they're like, oh, yeah, 5 years later, still nothing.
They're still in the same spot, right?
Right. So, yeah, that's really cool. So, what legacy do you want to leave the world and your children and all the people that you in your community?
Ooh, that's a tough question. What legacy do I want to leave? The fact that I tried to leave the world better than it was when I came in it. I
Hmm.
want to make sure that I want to be the mother that I needed I want to be the mother to my daughters that I needed when I was younger. I want to be
Mm,
the advisor to them. I want to be the woman who they look up to and say, okay, well, my mother taught me these things about, again, entrepreneurship, etiquette, poise, to school and what they're dealing with at school on a day-to-day basis and social media and so forth. And there's always these these little pieces that make up just you being a mother and how you have to take care of each and every piece. And I when I leave this earth, I want my daughters to be able to look and say, you know what, my mother tried her hardest to make sure that that we were left in a good space, to include, which also includes, generational wealth, and
yeah.
also make sure that they have the tools that they need to continue to be successful in their own personal, professional, and community lives.
Nice. Love that. So cool. So,
Mhm.
what do you have going on coming up that we can all support you on?
Well, it just so happens that on November 16th, we are launching a new collection called the Beauty Queen Collection. It is a 12-piece collection that is basically all rhinestones and gold. So all the lipsticks are encased in rhinestones. It is just a blinged out collection. And it was kind of like my love letter to pageantry. And it was really fun to shoot this particular project because we had three queens from three different systems, which is very hard to do for those of you who know a little bit about pageantry. It's kind of like you're on three different teams. So you've got three different teams coming together to shoot this. It just so happens that we had a all Black and brown cast to work on this particular creative project. The photographer was it has a background from Ghana. And then one of the women she was African American and Puerto Rican. We had one that was, I'm sorry. And then we also had the assistant was African American. The another makeup artist was African American. So it was a whole team of Black and brown creatives coming together to do this shoot. The photos are absolutely fantastic and beautiful, and I'm really proud of this because I was able to give them the opportunity to make history. They have billboards that are coming up in Maryland and Atlanta, in Baltimore, Maryland, and Atlanta on the 16th to the 19th of November. And then we're going to do
Mhm.
a Q&A. We have some other great things that are coming out on their behalf, but I wanted to make sure that they got the love that they deserve because these women have had very tremendous challenges in their life. And I always tell people, don't judge someone on the cover. Just because you see them looking beautiful and gorgeous does not mean that they haven't gone through it. And I call them warrior queens. These three women, I call them warrior queens because they have gone through so much, from homelessness to colorism. You'd be so surprised about their backgrounds. And so to be able to photograph them was fantastic. And so this particular 12-piece set comes with eyeshadows, four different sets of eyeshadows, four lipsticks. We have two styles of eyelashes. We have a glue pen. A we also have a 12-piece set of brushes that is blinged out too. So that's really fantastic. and the rhinestones are a touch of bling on it too as well. So again, it is a fantastic look and feel. It looks good in the bathrooms. Women love that aesthetic to have, really nice stuff in the bathroom. So when you put this in your bathrooms, it looks fantastic. I know now when I take out my lipstick and I go into a bathroom, in a public bathroom, women are like, "Where did you get that lipstick from?" And I'm telling them about the collection and stuff. So I think we're going to have a nice turnout in regards to the day that it drops. Hopefully, we sell out on the first day. That'd be great. So everyone who is out there, please support our small business. We would love to send you some beautiful makeup that blings out, and it's really cool when you put your phone, when you turn on the camera, turn on your camera, and you turn on your flashlight, and you put it towards the bling. Oh, it just blings out so much. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
So can people go to your website and is there a wait list?
Yes,
okay.
You can go to the website. We will start putting out the wait list in the next, today's the 7th, I think on our marketing strategies. I think we are doing it beginning of next week.
Okay.
We may end up putting it out a little earlier, only because we've been getting so much buzz about it. So I may end up dropping the launch dates on Instagram, this week instead of next week, as we already had it planned in our marketing strategies. So be on the lookout for that, definitely, at RaquelRileyThomas.com. And then if you go to our Instagram, which is RRT Beauty, it'll tell you everything that you need to know about the brand and about this particular collection that's coming out. And we will keep everyone posted, because we're getting a lot of phone calls and everyone's like, "Hey, I need this in my bathroom. I want this mascara. I need this," So it's a lot that people are asking for, and they want it now. And I'm like, we have to wait till November 16th. That's the date that we said we're going to launch. My VIPs are not trying to hear it, though. My VIPs are like, "I want mine now." I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Well, they get theirs. They get theirs a little earlier. They do. Those are in our what I call our diamond circle. And our diamond circle is, those who have spent over a certain amount of money with our brand. And so they have the opportunity to get that. They get the early release.
Nice. I love that. Well, congrats on that.
Thank
I know
you.
it's going to go amazingly, and can't wait to see it.
Yes.
So anything else we want to say before we let you go? Thanks so much. It's been such a great interview. I just love talking to you this all day.
I think the only thing I want to just say is, thank you all for listening in, and just, keep motivated at whatever you are involved in, especially those who are entrepreneurs out there. It is tough. It was tough for us when we started this in 2020, because it was during the pandemic. We didn't know that was going to happen. And it was already set up to come out in June of 2020. So we already had it, we already had a strategy already set up, and it was just a little bit of a challenge, but we overcame that. And I will tell any entrepreneur out there to just hang in there. It will pay off. Your hard work will pay off, and believe in yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself, who will? So I believe in myself. I believe in our brand. I stand behind it, and we will continue to build. Slowly but surely. We are a little train that's moving.
Well, I love it. You're doing great. So I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see what happens next.
Yes. Me
I
too.
expect to see a commercial somewhere on a billboard. I'll driving down the road. I'll be like, "Hey!"
Yes. There you go. There you go. Yes. Love it. Put it out there. Put it out there in the universe. Yes.
Oh, we will have to do this again.
Yes.
We will have to do this again soon, and definitely good luck with the drop, and I can't wait to talk to you the next time. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a good day.
Okay, you too.
Thank you for joining us today. Please subscribe so you won't miss our next conscious conversation with Kara and her fabulous guests. Follow Kara on social, on Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, Clubhouse, at Kara Allan. And connect with her on her website at KaraAllan.com. Also, leave a review if you enjoyed the conversation. Thanks again, and see you next time.